G'day, Steve Liddell from Street Science, and today I'm joined by Trish from Earlee Products, and we are celebrating the future of fuel for National Science Week 2021. Now, we are running what might be the country's biggest National Science Week competition, and you've got the opportunity to win some pretty amazing prizes. Trish, you're a food scientist. Talk me through what we're doing today.
Wow, we've got a really exciting competition that involves creating a fermented drink. So what we've got is some kefir grains, and you'll tell the listeners how to get your kefir grains to start your project. But what we're going to try and do is we're going to look at when we make our kefir grains and we make our fermented drink, who's able to look after their kefir the best, which will make it grow the best. So what we've got is, we've got a matrix here of bacteria and yeast. And they're on this, what looks like a little bit of a gelatinous, crystalline matrix. So we've got some really good bacteria and yeast in there. And when we ferment our drink, this water, this fermented water, is going to be full of helpful bacteria, full of probiotics that are so good for your gut health.
Very cool. So, to make our kefir, what do we need to do? Trish, walk us through us step by step.
Okay, so what we're going to get is a packet of kefir. And it's going to come as the grains are not going to be alive at this point. They're going to be dry and dormant, but we want to wake them up. So how do we wake them up? So what they like is lots of liquid and lots of food. So we make a sugar water solution. All the instructions are on the pack. The sugar is going to be what feeds them, and the water is going to hydrate them. So it's going to take about 24 to 48 hours to hydrate them. And that first ferment that we've got, we're going to throw away.
Right.
It tastes okay at this point, but we're going to actually make it taste better. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our ferment water after our first rehydration or wake up, and we're going to flavor it. So we're going to maybe add some fruit, maybe some dried fruit, maybe some honey, maybe some coconut sugar, the things you really like. And we're going to do a second ferment, which is going to make it really, really tasty.
Brilliant. Okay, so we start with our grains, and we'll put some links up for you guys so that you can get your hands on some of those kefir grains. We're going to wake them up because they're lying dormant at the moment. We do that by creating some sugar water. We sit that out for 24 to 48 hours,
Yep.
and we end up with exactly what we've got here.
Yep.
Brilliant. Okay.
Yep.
Now we're going to waste that liquid, even though it's loaded up with probiotics, right? We're going to get rid of it, and we're going to move forwards in the process. So,
Yep.
should we do it?
Yes. So what we want to do is, so what we've got here, what's the really valuable part here, is the grain that we've got at the bottom. So we don't want to lose any of that. So we're going to strain it so that we get rid of our water. Now, the first thing we need to do, because this competition is all about how much of this grain you can grow, because what's going to happen is you can do this every day. You change your water every day. And as you do that, the kefir is going to grow and grow and grow if you're looking after it properly. If it likes the conditions that it's in, it's going to grow and grow and grow. And what we want to see is, over the month of August, how much can you make it grow? You can change the environment a little. You can change the feed a little. Have a little play with it. See what makes it really good. What we hope is going to happen is you're going to have so much that you're going to have to split it. You're going to have to create 2 jars that you have to change every day. That's the aim.
Brilliant. So those grains, Trish, as you keep straining it, we might put those back into the big jar.
Yep.
And then we can weigh our kefir
Yep.
as a starting point as well. And that's really important if you're participating in the competition. We need an initial mass. So we need to weigh those grains once they've soaked. We've got some scales up here, so we'll do it. You can take a photo of that for evidence. And what we're going to see is how much we can increase the mass or the yield, perhaps the harvest of those grains over the month of August, which is pretty cool. Because if we look after them and we manipulate the levels of sugar in that water a little bit, keep those grains healthy, who knows how much they can reproduce.
So let's tear our jar, so we're not weighing our jar.
So I'm just going to let it wake up and zero it. There we go. Ready to go.
Okay.
Now we're going to add our grains. nice and carefully so none of them jump out.
And we need to be quite careful with them that we don't damage them. You'll see they're quite gelatinous. They look a little bit like rice that has been overcooked. And I'm losing some here.
Yeah, you've seen Trish has lost a couple there. That's all right. We'll get rid of those ones, and we'll just work with what we've got in the jar. So an initial weight for us here in the lab, 149 grams. So then we're going to run this, and we're going to replace our sugar water every single day throughout the month of August, and we're going to see, come I reckon about the 30th or 31st of August, what the mass is once we strain it at that point. So that's part one of the competition, to see what the final yield of kefir grains is. But you're a food scientist, Trish, so you're not just going to leave it there. You're going to go next level. So what can we do with flavour profiles?
Okay, so let's imagine this is our second day ferment, and this water is the really good fermented water that's full of probiotics.
Yep.
The problem is, it doesn't taste great right now.
Sure.
It's a little bit sugary. There's a little bit of the sugar probably still left, but it doesn't have a great flavour profile. So what we can do to really improve that is what we call a second ferment. So what we want to do is we want to transfer this water to a 2-litre container. We need a lid on this because we're going to add some more food, but this time the food's going to have some really nice flavour profiles, which the kefir water is going to take on. So something like fruit, something like berries, strawberries, raspberries, blueberries. Raspberries are my favourite. It's what gives it the best flavour profile, I think. But you might like to add dried dates. It doesn't matter what it is. You just got to have a sugar source for this second ferment. So we're going to put these into the container. We're going to add our kefir water, and then we're going to leave it for another 24 hours. Now, the reason why we need the lid is because we've got some yeast in this as well as the bacteria. And what we're going to do is we're going to produce some CO2. So we're going to get a nice fizz. We're going to get a little bit of fizziness to our drink. And if that goes too far, the whole thing could explode. So what we want to do is we want to burp the bottle. So burping the bottle just means we're going to let that CO2 out just a little bit. We're going to do that regularly just to make sure that we don't get too much. So we're not going to put this in the fridge at this point, because if we put it in the fridge, the bacteria goes to sleep again. So it likes a nice warm environment. 24 hours is usually where it's a really good time frame, but you can actually just taste it and see what you think of the taste. And if you'd like it to go a little further, and this is something you should definitely do during the month, let some of them go a little further and see what the taste, how the taste changes, and whether that's a good change or a bad change.
Brilliant.
Once you've got your 24 hours, we now need to put it into the fridge, because we want it to stop producing at that stage. When we get to the point where we like the flavour profile, we want to stop that bacteria working anymore. If we don't stop it, the flavour will really start to get quite acidic and not pleasant. So you work out where you like the flavour profile, put it in the fridge, and it can sit in the fridge for 7 days. And you're going to want to drink that then. It's full of good probiotics, and it's going to taste great.
This is so much fun, Trish. So not only are we looking at the kefir grains, but we're then harvesting the kefir water. We add our own flavour profiles in there, run it for another 24 hours, let it infuse and get those beautiful flavours, and then we'll be able to drink that.
Yep.
So we can put that lid back on, put it in the fridge, and how long is that going to last in the fridge?
7 days in the fridge.
Brilliant.
So 2 really, really good things about this. Well, 3. It's going to taste great. It's full of good probiotics, and it's really low in sugar. Because although we've added a lot of sugar in the beginning, bacteria and the yeast have eaten all of that. They've used all of that to regenerate and create this lovely kefir water. When we add our second food, sugar content, the same thing's going to happen. The bacteria and yeast are going to use that again, produce the CO2 and this lovely flavour profile. So this is a really, really healthy drink.
What a great experience and what a cool competition. So if you want to get involved, it's celebrating National Science Week and the future of food, which is our theme in schools all around the country. If you want to get involved, it's really simple. Jump on the Street Science Facebook page. You'll be able to check out the information there, or jump on the National Science Week website to get some more information, or to check out all the events that are happening in your local area. Trish, thank you so much for walking us through this process. I'm sure everyone who's been tuning in today has learnt a little bit, and they're probably going to get involved. So we look forward to seeing some of those results up on socials.
Yeah, can't wait to see what you come up with.
See ya.